Hello, found footage fans, and welcome to We Found a Tape.
Tape Talk.
Welcome to Tape Talks, a special new series from We Found a Tape. Here we sit down with directors, filmmakers and cinematographers to deep dive into the creative process behind found footage filmmaking, from writing and shooting to the journey of bringing these unique stories to life.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Tape Talks here, presented by We Found a Tape. We're joined today by a very special guest. He has an incredibly kooky and fun short found footage film, which I was a big fan of on Found TV, called My Found Footage. Today we're joined by Eric Orange. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Hi guys, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Like I said, I've watched this short now probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
I've really had a great time watching it. I think I pick up more things as I go along. I'm curious to know what were your influences to make short, found footage short, and also just the way in which you went about the filming.
Yeah, well, for starters, I love horror. I'm kind of a 90s baby, so that like late 90s horror boom of Scream and Urban Legend, and I know what you did last summer, it hit me hard. So my love for horror started early, and really I was too young to watch those movies when I watched them, but there was really, once you watch Scream, there's no going back. So it was really game over from there. And I mean, even before that, I was a huge fan of my earliest Christmas. I remember getting Hocus Pocus on VHS.
Oh wow.
So my love for horror really started early. And I've made, when I was in high school, I made a horror short called, at the time it was just called Horror Movie. Now I'm calling it Horror Movie 2006. So I had made a short when I was a teenager. And then I had gone on to college, and I went on my background, my professional career is in advertising. So I still got to be on set and stuff. But at a certain point, I just got tired of giving all my creative energy to other people and using it for, like to sell chicken nuggets and stuff. So in October of 2024, I decided that I wanted to create a horror short and release it by Halloween that year, or on Halloween of that year. And so that's what I did. I had, I think, 3 weeks to come up with an idea and shoot it. And I pulled it off. I think I rendered the final version of the short film at like 3 a.m. at the very beginning of Halloween. And so it was done in just the nick of time.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And there's a lot of great set pieces in it for it being a short where it's mostly just yourself. There's a lot of great set pieces. There are a lot of like the corn maze, and then there's the witch's castle and the Halloween party, and I thought it was so much fun. In terms of found footage specific influences, are there any particular, because we saw a snapshot in your in the short where it shows you some of your influences, but in terms of films, is there any specific found footage films that you would say you were influenced by or that stand out to you?
Yeah, well, for found footage specifically, you're alluding to at the beginning of the short film, I actually am really clear and upfront with what my influences are specifically for the project. So I say like, and here are some of my influences, and then on the screen I have a bunch of like on-screen text, and I have a section of film directors that I list that are kind of like animated in a circle that are moving around me, and they were all filmmakers who created experimental micro-budget. And I'm trying to think back now. Are they all found footage? Kind of. So we have the director of the Outwaters. We're all going to the World's Fair. Horror in the High Desert. I think there might be one more. It's a shame to forget the last director. But those were a few movies that I watched around that time. They were all movies that when you watch them, or at least for me, I told myself like, whoa, like it is possible to make a movie. They're all movies that feel like if you put in enough hard work, you could make yourself. So that was really the mission, was to make a movie with all the tools that I had at my disposal, and do it really quickly. So what I decided to do when I made the movie was to take a really meta approach. I star in the movie, and I play myself. So it's harkening back a little bit to the original Blair Witch Project, where those actors use their real names. I kind of felt like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I knew that, I mean, I acted a bunch when I was in high school and in plays and stuff. So I knew that I could act if I needed to. But I was a little worried about my friends. Some of my friends are actors, but not most of them. So I knew, okay, I can be the lead of this, but I'm gonna have to have other people. So I just decided to play myself, and all my friends were gonna play themselves as well. My cat even is playing himself. So yeah, I took some inspirations from those really experimental, low budget, gritty movies, and then I just asked my friends to come and put themselves in some spooky situations.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. Very can-do attitude, getting something done that you really want to do. So yeah,
You
it's
have
very
to.
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, what was the biggest challenge filming the short, if there were any?
Mm. Ooh, there's kind of like I could probably give you a list of challenges to go through it. Man, I would say at the top of the list, I didn't think it was going to be like a problem until after I had done it, but really the entire woods set piece. I scared myself so bad making that. I don't know if it was able to translate at all onto the film, but I was actually so nervous. I guess I will give you all some background on where the secret location is. I actually have some friends up, so I filmed the whole film takes place in Portland, Oregon, and I have some friends out there who live just kind of out of the city in the middle of nowhere, and their land is considered a habitat. I didn't know that is the classification you can have in Oregon or the United States, but you can. And they don't go out into their habitat after dark. But they're like, if you want to, there's some stuff out there. So that is what I did. I kind of packed up and just headed out into the woods. And when they bought the property, it wasn't until after they had purchased it that they realized that they had a hut. There was just like a hut in the middle of their woods that wasn't like like it wasn't a selling point. Like no, they didn't know about it until they had bought the property, and it was really spooky. So I had known about that hut for about a year, and going back to the idea of just like using what you have at your disposal, I was like, that hut, it's like if you saw the hut, it's like calling to be put in a horror movie. And so that's what I did. But I will say that was one of the I didn't realize it at the time, but man, it was it's scary to go out in the woods at night by yourself if that's not something that you're used to. I'm sure there might be some like backpackers or campers listening that are like, oh man, grow up. But it really did. As I was leaving that, I was like still breathing heavy. I was like, Eric, like check yourself. You are okay. You put yourself in this situation. Everything is fine. But there's like a sequence after that where I go to a concert and I edited it in footage back from that the woods sequence, almost like I'm having like a little bit of PTSD or flashbacks to that sequence. And honestly, that's how I felt at that concert. Like I was at that concert, I think it was like the next night, and I was just like still thinking about that woods and how scary it was filming out there. So yeah, I would say the number one on the list was just like not scaring myself too much while making the short. And I would say like normally you might expect it to be hard to get other people involved and like get people to join the project, but because I used all of my friends, they were all really great, and they were excited for me to finally be making a horror film again for the first time since high school. So everyone was really fun, and luckily I was like asking them to go do fun stuff like the corn maze and the airplane out in the woods. So I had so much fun making it. For real.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
I love that. Yeah, and you mentioned there about it translating through. I think it did. I think it did translate that you were scared. It definitely sounded like you were scared. And I was like, oh, this Eric guy can act. That's
Thank you.
true.
The
Um, oh
the
yeah,
going
sorry.
in the whole dark thing, that I can understand, man. I've said it before on different like reviews or episodes where we talk to other directors, that I grew up living next to a like an old cemetery, like right on the property line. It starts the cemetery over the fence, and going in there and in that area at night, closer to the fence, you can see and hear things at night, and just knowing that there's something weird in your backyard, just it's always unsettling to go outside. So I would be scared too, going out in the woods, just especially woods you don't know is even more scary because you don't know which way is left or right.
No, that's funny. You live next to the cemetery. Actually, so in the film, the person who I introduced, I don't think I ever even say her name in the short, but I introduced her as my favorite lawyer.
Yes.
Her name is Liz, and we actually I met her when we were in college together. So I grew up in Texas, so we met out here at UNT. In Denton, and we lived next to a cemetery. We were roommates, and we lived next to a cemetery
Oh,
up
wow.
in Denton. And so I too clocked a lot of hours in the cemetery at night. It was back when I would. Oh man, I shouldn't even say this on a podcast. People are going to be upset. But I used to go into the cemetery at night and just walk around and smoking cigarettes, hanging out with the ghosts. I don't know. I never found it so spooky. It felt a little calming to me living next to a cemetery. I'll have to send y'all some photos of Elizabeth. I was in college at the time, so I think I was in a photography class then, and we did a photo shoot of her all around the apartment complex that we had just moved in, and we got some photos of her in the graveyard. So I'll have to send them to you.
Nice. And it's kind of standard, you live next to something like a cemetery or maybe something that would be considered spooky or creepy. How can you not, go in and go check it out, spend some hours in there and,
Yeah.
poke around a bit. And I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's like, you're walking around, you're having a cigarette or two. It's not like, you're desecrating graves or anything like that. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Speaking of that, did you ever hear about the guy in Pennsylvania who was digging up graves and selling the remains on like Facebook Marketplace? That's
Yeah.
relatively recent.
my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy
No,
like,
that's
broke into this abandoned cemetery in Pennsylvania, and he was cracking open like mausoleums and going inside them, and he was taking the remains and he was selling them as ethically sourced human remains for people that would collect like skulls and bones and things like that. And the police caught wind of him because they had noticed that there was a lot of grave robberies happening recently, and then they ended up catching him, and he's in jail. So
I had heard of a
seems to
guy
be-
named Dr. Frankenstein who did something like that, but I don't think he was selling the body parts though.
yeah, and
Oh,
this was relatively recently. His handle was his handle on Instagram was dead shit daddy.
oh, wow.
But his Instagram just got taken down like a month or so ago. But yeah, he still had all the stuff up and like was posted on Marketplace. Dr. Frankenstein I hadn't heard of, but that's
Oh no.
no, that's wild. And it was just around the time the Ed Gein show came out on Netflix, so like everyone had a bit more of an interest in that type of stuff again. So it popped right up for people in the news.
I love horror movies. That's like, again, I've been watching them since I was a kid, but I don't like true crime. So I've not watched any of the Ed Gein or any of the Ryan Murphy monster shows. It's just too much. I think I watched, do y'all remember when that Making a Murderer came out on Netflix?
Yeah,
It was really
yeah.
like, I think at the beginning of the boom of the true crime stuff, I watched that and it just made me so sad.
Yeah.
That I was like, I can't do this. I can't like use this like real pain for entertainment. I know it's a huge business, but I don't know. That stuff's too sad for me. I like to make up fake stories instead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a lot less sad, a lot less real life. You can get away with more if you're making up a story. Absolutely.
Right. And speaking of making up stories and things like that, I'm super curious. Part of the short, there's a reference, and of course we see it, the witch's castle. Was that a story that was made up, or was there some lore to it as far as, any kind of like somewhere that you've heard about it? I'm kind of curious on that.
That is one thing about the short that I was wondering if anyone from Portland was going to see it and be like, that's not really what happened. That's not the true story of the witch's castle. But to my knowledge, that is the real lore of the castle.
Oh wow.
I think there's actually a little bit of a deleted scene or an extended sequence when I go out to the witch's castle in the movie. I think I talked a little bit more about the history of it. I believe at one point there was like a man who owned the property, and then he got really upset that one of his employees started to date his daughter. I believe, I could be botching the story totally, but he ended up like shooting his employee and then hiding out in the land for a long time. But I don't think that really has anything to do with it being called the witch's castle. To my knowledge, it really was just teenagers in the 80s who used to hike out there and have raves, and they would call it castle, which I believe is alluding to the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
There's a bunch of weird stories out there in Portland, Oregon, but that was just one of the places. When I started to think about making a found footage horror movie, I'm playing myself, and towards the beginning of the story, like I really wanted to just, in movies, there's kind of like, sometimes there's like the fun and games portion of the story where you're kind of just like going out and trying different things, or the characters are having fun. I wanted, towards the beginning of the story, to have just a few different spooky excursions that I could go on. So the Witch's Castle is kind of like a staple in Portland. It's a really popular hike. So popular, actually, if you rewatch the short, when I got there were people already there having a full photo shoot.
Yeah.
They had, like, the strobe lights going off. But yeah, that was just one of the places that I knew I had to hit up, and as well as the Bruce Campbell's airplane in the middle of the woods. I knew I had to go there as well.
Oh yeah, that was a badass place as well. Like, how did you find that? Was that just like an Airbnb type situation, or?
No, so Bruce is similar to the Witch's Castle. He's kind of like a Portland staple. He lives in that airplane, and he's lived there since, I believe, the 1980s. And he lives there. He's about there maybe 6 months out of the year. The other 6 months he lives in Japan, and he just invites people. You can go out and visit his airplane. You can just email him and let him know you're coming. He's a great guy, and he's only in just a little tiny bit of my short because, unfortunately, when we were shooting out there, my microphone stopped working. So he was telling so many wild and crazy stories, and so for the short film version, I didn't. The only things that I was able to catch for him were him saying the creepiest little things of dialogue, of something about cutting off fingers and like people have died over here. But I will say, I'm currently adapting the short into my first feature film, and you'll see more of Bruce Campbell, the pilot, for sure.
Amazing. Hell yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, awesome.
yeah. I think it definitely it lends itself to the theme of the short is really putting yourself in perilous situations to try and bring out those authentic found footage type scenarios. And I think, yeah, like adding the creepy things where he's talking about getting fingers chopped off and people dying, I think, oh, it's great. So such a kooky character to have in there, who is not a character at all, who's a real life person, who's just their authentic self, which is so great. It adds such a layer to it.
And his name is Bruce Campbell. So
Yeah.
I was like, this is ridiculous. You've got to be in my movie. And thankfully he was so game. I can't wait for y'all to see more of him.
Yeah.
The idea, though, of putting yourself in danger and filming it, that's the tagline of the movie. And it really came from the opening scene in the movie. There's like a little tag that opens it, but there's actually a little bit of actual found footage in the movie of my friends and I. We were hiking in a park up in northern Washington, and we got ran up on by a mountain goat when we were up in the mountains. Just by ourselves. So really, that's where the story starts. And it was honestly like it it's not possible for it to translate how scary that moment was in real life into the footage. Afterwards, I couldn't believe that my friend Mallory actually recorded the entire thing. But in the moment, it was one of the scariest things that had ever happened to me. We were about an hour into this hike, completely alone. And then we started hearing a rumbling in the woods, and it was far off initially. And then Mallory started to freak out, and it just got louder and louder. And I thought it was a moose. I didn't know what was around there. It didn't sound like a bear, but it sounded really big. And it was just getting closer and closer. And then at a certain point, it was so close, Mallory just started screaming and run away. I found that in that moment, I got really quiet. I got really focused. He like bust out of the bushes, and he was just so aggravated at us. And I was just looking at his horns the entire time, and he was pissed. He was like shaking his head. I don't know if he was just scared or what, but he was not happy to see us. Like the whole thing probably lasted a couple minutes, and she got like the last half of it. But it was immediately after that we were able to get around him. But I said to Mallory and James, I was like, well, that's how you make a found footage horror movie. Just put yourself in danger and film it. And then I was like, wait a minute. And that kind of was the original, really like the seed that started the whole movie.
I love that. It's so good. So authentic.
It's funny that you mentioned the goat, because I was eating some chips while I was watching it, and I had to look down for that split second right before the goat comes in, and it was kind of like I saw the white, and I was like, was that a dog or a wolf? And I had to go back 10 seconds, like, holy shit, that's a goat.
Whew. Hey, I wouldn't recommend running into a wild mountain goat, but I'm so grateful to Mallory. I really don't think we would have had the movie. I don't know if I would have thought put yourself in danger and film it if she hadn't had filmed it. So I'm so grateful for her. Are either of y'all into anime at all?
Not super into it, but I've seen some.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
well,
seen a few as well.
My friend Mallory, she's the one who filmed that opening scene. And I believe that's the only bit that she's in. You can hear her voice. She makes the funniest noises. She's the one being like, "Hey," behind the camera. But she's actually an amazing voiceover actress. She is. I don't know if you've heard of the show Free. It's actually on Netflix, but it's a really popular anime. I'm kind of like, that's not really my world, but I'm just so happy for her. She's done voiceover acting and also like live action acting since I've known her, but she's really taken off in the last couple of years. So I really owe everything to Mallory Rodak. She filmed that, and she afterwards I was like, I've got to make you the executive producer of the movie because I really owe it to you. And I'm excited for y'all to see where the story picks up, because Mallory is definitely in it a lot more, and we get into a lot more trouble.
Hell yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a great connection between everything. Like, it's the universe falling into place and saying, this is what you have to do. And yeah, you saw the signs and you picked it up and ran with it. That's so cool. It's very cosmic, and I love that. Great origin story.
Thank you.
You also mentioned as well, when you were at the witch's castle, there was people there doing like a photo shoot, and you asked them, you were very polite in asking them, oh, what you guys filming? And then cut to like, yeah, they weren't very friendly. Really, what advice as a filmmaker in general, what advice would you give to deal with situations like that? Like, how did you deal with a situation that we didn't quite get to see?
You know what? I've kind of, that's like a moment that like sometimes I like spring out of bed at night and think about, because the truth is, in the moment and in the movie, I say those people weren't really friendly, so I'm just gonna leave and tell you the story as I leave. But in actuality, so there was just two people. There were a photographer and a model, and the model was actually really friendly. And so I wish I had said in that moment, oh man, that photographer wasn't really friendly. So I'll just tell you the story as I leave. So if anybody is listening and watches this, I doubt that those two people will ever see the short, but I will just have to say, if you're watching this and you are the model, were actually really sweet to me. But yeah, he was just busy. He wasn't like they were overly rude, but I'm kind of I don't have a ton of social anxiety. I think I get it from my grandfather. I like to just meet people, and generally I feel like people like to be talked to. So I'm like the first to kind of introduce myself and chat away, but he was kind of in the middle of something. So maybe he was just busy trying to get the shot and didn't have time to make new friends. But I would have loved to see the photos that they were getting. It was such a unique little place. But yeah, generally, again, my background is in advertising, but for this past year and a half, I've stepped away from that industry and focused just completely on filmmaking. And it has been like so amazing to just meet people and introduce myself as a filmmaker. I mean, I've been directing music videos since I was like 25, and again making shorts since I was 16. So I've been doing it for a long time, but there's something about like really actually just going for it. It has opened me up to meet so many new people, like y'all included. I don't know, I've been following y'all show since episode 1, and I don't even know how I found out about you guys. Probably just searching found footage on social media. But this past like year and a bit since I've released the short, I've met so many cool people in the horror community, and like as y'all know, like the horror community is like the best film community. Sorry to the drama film club or whatever they like to be called, but the horror community is just the best. So I'm so excited to be like officially making my first movie and to have it be a horror movie. Like for me personally, like of course it had to be my horror movie, my first movie, but I can't wait for more people to see the short and then check out the feature later this year.
Hell yeah, I love that. No, thank you so much for
Yeah.
following us and as well. Yeah, we've through this, like we've met so many amazing people that love found footage, a lot of people that love the filmmaking aspect of it and have made such incredible movies that we're both massive fans of. I think we set out ourselves in a very similar nature. Like we have very specific goals that we want to hit, whether that's, we want to have like 1,000 followers on Instagram, or consistently do an episode for a whole year. And with that, we just kind of through the connection of people that are built on that foundation of either horror or found footage specifically. It's just such a great genre to be part of, and such a great subgenre as well. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Eric. We're going to continue to make as many of these episodes as we possibly can, and I am honestly so excited to see the finished product of the feature. That's going to be a great time.
Yeah,
and
be a good watch. I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah! And where I saw this was you'd originally sent it to me, and then also I saw that it was on the Found TV Shorts selection for last year. How was it working with Found, and what was the process like of getting it onto the platform?
I don't know if y'all know this story. It is really, speaking of the universe, it was really the universe coming together to get that short on the streaming platform. I had almost immediately after I finished the short, I started doing some guerrilla marketing for it. So I created these really lo-fi grungy posters that are like almost like a bitmap photo of my face with like the blood on it, which is like the version of the poster that y'all might have seen.
Yeah.
And then so I like made these posters, printed them in black and white, and then took like a red marker and drew over the blood, and then with a little bit of water got it wet so it looks like the poster's bleeding. They're like these pretty gnarly little posters, and I have another version with the little cursed object on it as well. But I've hung those flyers up all over the country and abroad in this last year. and it was actually the founders of Found TV. They found one of my flyers that I had hung up in Salem. I was there filming the feature version of my movie, and I just hung up as many of those flyers up and down like the main strip in Salem. And so they found the flyer and they reached out and they were like, "Hello, you don't know us, but this is random. We found your flyer." And at the time, they said that they had never done put any shorts on the platform before, but they were interested in creating a shorts program and wanted to include my found footage in that program. So it was really again, yeah, it's just the universe coming together. I cannot believe they had found that flyer, and when they had emailed me, I was already following them on social. So yeah, it was really special that they found that. And I had to do the version that's on Found TV is a little different than the version that's on my website and YouTube, because part of like the contract with Found was they were like, I think it's like a standard release, but they were like, if we get sued for any reason, like you're getting sued. So I had to like go back. There was a couple pieces of audio. Actually, it's at the Witch's Castle. If you were, this is like nobody do this, but if you were to go and watch the version on YouTube, as I'm like going to the castle, it's just a different audio track in the background. And so I think it was the photographer was actually playing the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. There's some boy band song playing, and you can just like hear it in the background. I think it's like I Want It That Way or something. But I was like, oh, okay, let me get that out of there. And then I also, at the corn maze on the Found TV version of it, I blurred the Halloween costumes for the Scream mask and the Predator. There was like those characters were just spooky. And I was like, I don't want the owners of those masks to sue me. So I was just playing it safe. But yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of Found TV's history. Their first have a short in their first ever shorts collection. It's just, I mean, it's like it's like a dream come true. Like there couldn't have been a more perfect place for it to be than like a streaming platform specifically for found footage people. So I'm so excited for that program to grow. I was just listening to y'all's episode. The special y'all did on Found TV. I can't wait for their continued success. It's really cool.
Hell yeah!
Thank you.
Yeah, we're also part of the creator crew for Found for this year.
Yeah,
and it was funny because like similar sort of circles. Like we had just started recording the podcast, and I don't know, maybe it was just a confidence thing, I don't know yet, but I was like, wow, I don't think we're as experienced enough to be part of this like creator crew initially. So I was like, maybe they'll have another one next time. And I mean, we ended up having like this blind watch special that we do where we literally just pick movies from Found TV, we spin a wheel, and like we review and we do whatever film like pops up. We pick movies we've never seen before, or that one of us hasn't seen. So again, it's very similar in circles. It's very very cosmic in the way that it's all sort of panned out. So I definitely feel you on that. I love that, and so cool that they found a poster. How freaking cool is that?
I'm so lucky.
Brilliant, and I loved the poster. I did. I mentioned, wrote specifically in my notes about the boot. I put it as boots to the floor marketing, or guerrilla marketing, as you said. And I was going to ask how important that has been for it, but clearly it's been pretty important because it really evolved into a whole short section for Found, and I think it's definitely something that they're going to be doing in the future. So that's great. I love that story. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think marketing is really important. It's my background, as I mentioned, is in advertising, and it was really over the last few years I've got to work on some actual film campaigns for some Netflix movies and some Paramount movies and Warner Brothers. And so I've been in the rooms like telling Netflix how they should market their movies and stuff. And so I kind of like I wouldn't say turn my back on the advertising industry, but I've like pivoted away from it to make this movie. But now I'm excited to kind of turn around a little bit. And now that I'm so close to being done with the feature version of the movie, I'm gonna try to go all out with marketing as much as I can. I don't want to annoy anybody, but I'm gonna really I want people to know about it. I'm super proud of the short and so like beyond excited for people to see the feature version. So even if people see the movie and don't like it, I'm still happy. In fact, there was one person who saw the movie really early on. I don't know how they got a hold of it, and they gave it a 1-star review on Letterboxd. And I think their review was just like really long, 12 minutes, which is like, oh, it's crushing. I commented on it. I was like, hey, thanks for checking it out anyway. And then a few months later, he reviewed it again, and he was like, the creator reached out. I thought that was so nice of them, and he gave it 2 stars this time because he noticed like a couple more things in the background. So I will say, even if you see the movie and it completely doesn't work for you, I'm really grateful to anyone who gives some time to the film, and there's going to be a lot more film to dig into when the movie's released too.
Hell yeah.
That's why I always think it's important, and it happens when more so when we review movies. You know, John will suggest, hey, let's go ahead and review this one. I've never seen it before, so I'll watch it. It didn't resonate with me at all, the first time around, but he's like, go back and watch it again, but think about this. And then I go back and watch it and it makes sense and you get a better perspective on it. And then you understand things that you might not have understood. And it kind of like gels everything together and you appreciate it more the second, maybe even the third time around. So, I mean, I can't say enough that when you're watching these found footage movies, if you don't like it or it didn't resonate with you the first time around, give it a second chance, give it a third chance, because there's always things that you can miss because there's so many things going on in the background of what's happening right in the present in front of your face. And you really miss some cool shit along the way. And I think it's important that, it's always good to, see it a second, third time, maybe even a sixth time. It sometimes takes that, for something to resonate with you as far as what you're watching. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just like the format of the subgenre, but you can really pack so many details into a found footage horror movie. And those definitely aren't something that you're going to pick up all of those details the first time you watch one of these films. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of going back. I just went back and listened to, I don't know how y'all felt about the Shelby Oaks movie that just came out, but I just rewatched it with the director's commentary. And even for a story, some people say it's like so simple. I know it's the case with my film. Like as you're making a movie, you kind of have to develop your own system of rules, the own like internal logic of how the rules of how the movie works. So even going back and watching Shelby Oaks again and listening to his commentary about like how he set things up, there's more than meets the eye even with a movie like that. So hopefully that would be great. I would love for people to watch my found footage multiple times and pick up on all the clues. So yeah, I appreciate it. I can't believe I've seen it multiple times. That's
oh yeah,
amazing.
Oh yeah. I always look at found footage as like an Easter egg hunt or like a hidden object book or game, because one of my favorite found footage movies is Hell House LLC, and I've watched that movie maybe 40, 50 times, and every time I find something different or something new or something that I missed. And that's why with found footage, it's really a good idea to watch something multiple times, because although it may have not, like I said, resonated, you're missing a lot of cool shit in the background, and it doesn't hurt to go back and watch it a second, third time. You could appreciate it more, the next time around. So it's I agree.
How did y'all feel about the Outwaters? Were y'all hot or not on that one?
For me personally, I was not a fan. I could understand it was something very experimental, but the I think the runtime for me was a big concern. for it being so long and for a good chunk, not too much realistically happens until we get to the sort of cosmic elements of it, and from there, I think seeing this on a screen for such a long time and the motion of it, for me, I wasn't a huge fan of. I think the end was very impactful and very grotesque. But I think when you really put it in that context of spending an hour and 54 minutes for getting to that point, for me it was a bit much. I haven't rewatched it. I wasn't a fan when I did watch it, but maybe I've been trying to gear myself up. I know that Robbie Banfitch is doing another Tinsman Road is his next one, which I've heard some very good things about it. I know people are very hot and cold on the Outwaters, so I'm more than happy to check out Tinsman Road, and maybe one day I'll revisit the Outwaters. But yeah, for me, I wasn't a huge fan.
It's a long movie, The Outwaters, and I would say what I'm going to say is not going to help. But he did some short films that were like a prequel and like a epilogue.
Okay.
And I enjoyed both of those. I found the prologue that he did to really inform some of like the character stuff for him. So maybe if you go back and check it out, at least check it out with that prologue. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear my hound dog. They're going crazy. Check out that prologue. Something about the Outwaters just really clicked with me when I watched it. I don't know. Maybe it just was really scary for me. I think the audio in that is so effective. Actually, just 1 second. I'm gonna try to stop my dog.
Oh yeah. No problem.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I think the Outwaters was the runtime for me on that one, and the tunnel vision. That's definitely what got me.
Yeah. You watched it?
Yeah, a long time ago. But I see the thing is that if I don't watch something multiple times, I'll forget about it. That's why I say it's important for me to watch it multiple times, because as I get older, my brain sucks.
Yeah. And speaking of watching things multiple times, a quick story. We can go back to the Outwaters for you, but one of our like early episodes, we watched Cannibal Holocaust, right? David watched Cannibal Holocaust 3 or 4 times in the space of like 2 days, because he's like, okay, I'm going to watch it, and then I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to take notes, and then I'm going to watch it again, and then he watched it again while he was eating food, which is absolutely insane.
I was eating a meatball
recommend.
sub from Subway while I was watching it the last time around. At that point, I was already numb to the whole thing, so I was like, I'm just gonna eat my sandwich, whatever.
I have actually never seen Cannibal Holocaust. It's one that it's like, can I even call myself a horror fan without seeing it? But it's just those trigger warnings are just a little hard.
Definitely. There is, and this is another plug for Found, there is the ethical version on Found where it doesn't have the hardcore like animal scenes in it.
Great.
So it's cut out. So if
No way. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I will do that. It's just been it's interesting making a found footage horror movie. You might think that I've been trying to like consume all the found footage that I can, but part of me is like I want to make something that's like unique. So I at least for like right now, I've been almost trying to keep everything all found footage at a little bit of a distance so that I don't copy anything. There was an element in the feature version of my found footage that I was about to film, and then I took it out because I was like, oh my goodness, that was in Horror in the High Desert, like the movie that I'm like already saying was like influential on it. I was like, you can't have that in there, so I'm gonna have to like change one little thing around. It's just like one really small detail. But I'm excited to go back. So I haven't in the last maybe year and a half been watching too much found footage. So I am excited to go back and watch the Outwaters again. I would say as far as modern found footage, that is the one that is does it for me. I will say people really do complain about that pinhole light. So watch it on a really big screen. Watch it on the biggest screen that you
Watch it
can.
on a cinema screen.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I heard about the movie because a couple of my friends saw it in theaters, and I think one of my closest friends, their review of it was like, "This is why we shouldn't let everyone make movies," which is so harsh. And that is what's crazy, because I watched that same movie and I was like, "This is a masterpiece." I was like, "This is like so amazing, and so scary." But for somebody else, it just completely didn't work. So I know that that's gonna have some people have watched my found footage, and it just like completely didn't work for them. But my mom thinks it's really scary.
There you go. That's at the end of the day, that's all the validation you need is that your mom or a relative that you're incredibly close to that bigs up your film. I 100% agree. That's when you know you've made it. It doesn't matter if I'm pretty sure I saw on your Instagram that David Arquette had seen my found footage, and he's someone that I'm a massive fan of, and yeah, that was super.
I cannot believe that that he watched that. I was that was one of the cooler days of my life, was getting the video from David Arquette. Not only had he like watched the movie, he was really great about it, and then he gave me some really great feedback and notes that I posted maybe like half of what he said on social media, and I'm saving the other half just for like my memory bank, so I can go back and make little improvements. But yeah, I mean, a year and a half ago, there's no way I would have thought that David Arquette would be reacting to my films, and now he has. So it really is encouraging. So my plan is just to keep making movies, make as many as I can. I'm definitely taking a break though from horror after this year. Making a horror movie. It's not. Why is it? It is as fun as watching it but it is. It's harder. Making one is harder than watching a horror movie. So my next movie, I'll give y'all a little tease, is going to be a musical. I told my close friends and family I need just a little bit different energy for the next year of my life. So I think I will probably make my found footage, or finish my found footage, make my musical, and then make my found footage too. I kind of like having a feeling I'll just be making these for the rest of my life. They're I don't know. It's been I've made short films in the past. I've directed music videos and then worked on a ton of advertising stuff. But this has by far been the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. And I really, every time I finish like an editing session on the feature version, I render out like a full version of the movie. It just feels a little bit closer to being like a real movie. So by this point, I think the edit that I have is like 1 hour and 29 minutes. So we're so close to being done. I definitely in the next couple of days I'm gonna have an edit of the movie. I'm gonna send it to you guys, so I will give you all a sneak peek maybe this weekend.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And I mean, that's a perfect runtime for a film. I think is like that 1 hour 30. I think for found footage, you really can get away with like 1 hour to 1 hour and 30 is like the ideal sort of area. I think when you start to go beyond that, I think that's when an audience can start to pick away, unless you're really hounding them with diegetic details of things. So yeah, no, that's cool.
That was part of the structure of making the movie. Was I always wanted it to be 90 minutes, and maybe it was like taking in some of like the research that I've done for how people have reacted to these modern horror movies. They're just a little long. So that's almost been like the runtime that I've been working back from. So as I've been editing, I'm like, ooh, I've only got 7 more minutes left of available screen time in my movie. But yeah, 1 minute away. The version that I will send y'all, there's a couple little pickup things that I have to add in, but the whole story is there. So it's almost done. I'm ready to move on because it gets a little spooky. It got a little spooky. John, I actually wanted to ask you a question. Sure. I go abroad in the feature version of the movie. The feature version of my found footage is a road movie, I will say. And I go to the UK, and I almost went to Scotland. Have you heard of the Bone Caves? Does that
Bone caves.
ring a bell at all?
That it doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head. There's a lot of creepy stuff in Scotland. I don't know if I'm from around about the Glasgow area.
Mm.
So I know there's a lot of lore up in Edinburgh. There's a good amount of lore in Glasgow and in the Highlands and all the other areas. So I'm not entirely clued up on all of my Scottish folklore, but it sounds interesting. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, well, I almost went and spent the night in what they call are the Bone Caves up there in Scotland. I ended up adjusting my trip a little bit, and I didn't end up getting to go up there. But I'm excited for y'all to see that section of the movie, my little international excursion.
Love that.
And then I wanted to tell you, part of the movie I go to New Orleans, and when I was in New Orleans, I think I was there at the same exact time that y'all were. I listened to y'all's episode where y'all recapped y'all's whole trip. And I think the dates lined up. I think we were there at the same time. Was it September, October of last year?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the first week of September that we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's funny because I was looking back because initially you'd reached out about it and we hadn't scheduled anything, and I think we posted like a story or something. And you reacted to it, saying that you were filming your feature there. I think we were at the American Horror Story house or something like that.
Okay.
And I think you'd mentioned you were filming in the areas, and I think by that point we were on our way like home, or we were just sort of leaving. It was in the last couple of days. But yeah, that's also another crazy cosmic thing that we were also in the same place at the same time, which is
I
unreal.
remember y'all saying when y'all were recapping your trip that you didn't eat the oysters because there was some oyster poisoning going on or something. And I fully had a lot of oysters.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there was like a bacteria,
Like a bacteria
in the water, and around about that time there was like an outbreak, and they recommended to not eat like oysters, clams, and stuff like that.
Oops.
Yeah,
Then, hey, put yourself in danger and film it.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited for y'all to see that section. I went to a bachelorette trip to New Orleans.
Wow.
So I will just tease for y'all. We go out in some outfits, so I can't wait for y'all to see what we look like when we go out on town. And then I also filmed. So I went to New Orleans, and then I went and filmed like a sequence with. Are y'all familiar with? She's in the short film, so you've seen a little clip of her, but with the God Warrior. Her name is Marguerite Perrin.
Not too
Why
much.
is that name sound familiar?
It sounds right. I think I know what you're talking about in the short. There's like a clip with you and her on like a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she was a reality show personality from maybe 2008. I believe she was on Trading Spouses. So it was one of those
Okay.
shows like Wife Swap, where she was a very religious woman, and she swapped houses with like a pagan family. So a witch came and lived with her, and she went and lived with the witch's family. And then she comes home and has this really iconic blow up on her family where she just talks about how dark-sided the entire experience was. There was like gargoyles and psychics, and did she do tarot card readings on you? So she just blows up. It's so funny. And she became like a meme before memes were a thing. And still to this day, people use her audio. Like anytime you hear someone call something dark-sided, that comes from her. But I had met her. It kind of goes back to that cosmic thing. I had met her in 2018 on a Carnival cruise. That's where that videotape is that I put in at the end of the short film, where I'm like, if you're dark-sided, get out of here. It was with her where I had met her there. And then just randomly last year, I followed her on Instagram and she followed me back. And then so we got in touch again. And then she ended up filming like an extended cameo in the movie, which is just like, I can't believe it. It was one of those dreams where I had always thought after I met her, I was like, one day I want to, when I make movies, I want to have Marguerite in them. And then so to like I just snuck her in that movie. I didn't even ask her. Like, I didn't have like a release form for her to be in that movie. So if she sued Found TV, she could get maybe some money out of them. But to have her actually be in the movie is just so special. And now we're like friends. We text each other like all the time. I'm already planning what she's gonna be in my musical. So it's really special. I would say if you're listening to this and you're thinking about making a movie, go and do it, because a year and a half from now, who knows, maybe like David Arquette could be reviewing your movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so cool. Like I love stories like that because I feel like we are very much in tune with that because of how we have done things. Like I mentioned the Cannibal Holocaust. Our first like proper episode where we're reviewing a film was Cannibal Holocaust. We released it on the 50th anniversary of Cannibal Holocaust, and we had no idea.
Cool.
So we released it, and then everyone's talking about Cannibal Holocaust, and like people are getting tattoos, and like, oh yeah, talking about it. I'm like, no way, we've just dropped this first episode, and it's literally the 50th anniversary of when it was released. I'm like, no way is that.
I bet that's perfect. I bet there were people that day looking for some podcasts on Hannibal Holocaust.
Hell yeah, yeah. And I think for a good while, it was one of our like most listened to episodes, which was great. We also met, we interviewed one of my favorite found footage movies is called Phoenix Forgotten, and we interviewed the director of that, and it was like maybe 2 or 3 days before it was like the 6th anniversary or the 7th anniversary or whatever of the movie coming out, which was another crazy sort of cosmic thing. I also I'd shared a post on social media about the movie Spree, which David Arquette is in, and tagged the director. It was like I'd put it on like one of our like underrated gems or whatever. So we had a bit of a report, and I ended up just being like, oh hey, like would you want to be on the show? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And I'm like, wait, wait, what? So we had Eugene Kotliarenko come on, and he is like one of the most knowledgeable people I think we've ever spoken to when it comes to just cinema, found footage. His knowledge of that is insane. And then he was showing his film in Toronto, and I think it was somewhere in Texas as well. But
it was Austin, I think.
Austin, yeah. And I ended up going out to Toronto to go see the film. It's called The Code, and he does a lot of like in-world stuff. Screen life is his huge thing. Like it's the modern day camera, is cell phones and all that. And got to meet him. He signed my copy of Spree. He remembered who I was, which was awesome. I felt like $1,000,000. He invited us to an after party. So me and my partner went, and we were like, is this real life? Is this what people do that like go to like premieres of films and then go to after parties? I'm like, is this what people do?
And how long? I mean, how long? Your podcast hasn't been out that long. Is it just like a year or something?
Yeah, over a year.
Yeah, we've been just over a year. And this was maybe like 2 months in is when we spoke to Eugene. So we were like, this guy like made like a Hollywood film that has one of the biggest stars in the world, which is Joe Keery, because he just came off of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So he was telling us all about like David Arquette, and he wrote the part of Kurt's dad specifically for David Arquette. And he was just telling us all these amazing stories, and then he like whips out this Blair Witch Project like book that he had. He's like, oh, I found this at a thrift store, and it's this like this book going into detail about the Blair Witch and all the lore, and like just to add to the backstory of the whole thing. And yeah, it was one of the wildest experiences we'd really had, and we just kind of sat by the seat of our pants and just let him talk and kind of brought forward some things. And yeah, it was insane.
I'll have to go back and listen to that episode. Was that a Tape Talks episode?
That was the first ever Tape Talks, because that's where it came in. And the reason for it, another happy accident, is that originally we were gonna review Spree, and then we were gonna talk to him, and then we were gonna do like the that. He had brought in the cinematographer for the code, and we hadn't seen the code, and he didn't send us a link or anything to it. He thought he like not double booked, but like thought we were wanted to talk about the code. So he was the first part of it was talking about the code, and the second part was talking about the Spree. So I was like, and at that point we hadn't been doing video podcasts, but he had the background of the Taj Mahal, and he had a Colonel Gaddafi shirt on, and I was like, this is too good not to have like the video of it. So that's when we came up with the idea for Tape Talks, was to like focus on filmmakers, to like have these conversations to talk about their work and their process and influences, and just have general conversations. And that's literally where it started. So another cosmic thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure I know some of my favorite podcasts. It's like two people, and anytime they bring in a third person, it could like interrupt the flow of their like normal podcast. So I think it's great that y'all kind of keep your normal podcasts just y'all, and you like really dive into the movies. And then I love any podcast, film podcast specifically, that deals with craft. So I really enjoyed listening to y'all's Tape Talk episodes, because I mean they're craft discussions, but then it's like craft about found footage. So it's like for me the most perfect kind of craft discussions that I hear. So I really enjoyed listening to those. They've been great.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll let you in on a little secret, is that really the the main reason that we wanted to speak with filmmakers is, you know, for the last however many years, like I want to dive into it myself, and I'm making something. So my thought was, I can meet filmmakers and I can ask them questions about how they do things and what was their process, so that I can then learn, and I can use that in order to hopefully push myself forward to make my own found footage film. And that's kind of, again, that's why a lot of it's focused on like the processes and, you know, the logic behind a story or a character, and like what their thoughts and feelings were like at the time. And yeah, it was really just out of a selfish need for me looking for a mentor and finding a ton of mentors of films that I love and that David loves. And yeah. So
have you made shorts in the past?
Yeah, small shorts that no one has ever seen.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, when I was young, like I was at my grandparents back in September, and they had all these like videotapes and stuff like that of us, like me and my sister as kids. And there's one where I'm a magician, and it's like stop motion, like magic tricks. It's like me making my sister disappear, and like me making myself disappear, and things like that. We also had a show back in the day where I used to make Scottish Word of the Week. And that was my foray into making little shorts, where I would make these cinematic sequences of me demonstrating said Scottish word. So one of them was talking about a Glasgow kiss. Glasgow kiss is slang for a headbutt. So I would like talk in a really posh accent, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is what a Glasgow kiss is," and I would have like a definition, and then I would have a scene. And then one was like kind of like Friday, when Debo like hits the guy, and it's like slow motion with the music in the background. So that was kind of like my foray into it. I'm now involved with a couple of former guests of ours. They made a movie on film called Jim's Room, which is one I always recommend to people. They are making a Bigfoot stoner comedy found footage, and they live like 10 minutes from where I do. So I'm getting some hands-on experience now of being able to be involved with a proper found footage production. So
this great! You're gonna be on set for that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I help with the story initially. I think we're gonna mostly film like behind the scenes stuff. Just help out with the production. I'm gonna have a small role in the movie as a hiker. So that's gonna be wild. But yeah, we did a script read and a location tour last Friday or the Friday before, and yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Well, hey, try not to run into any mountain goats.
Yeah.
And if you do, just try to remain calm, sneak around them.
It's funny because when we drove to the place, like we turned the corner into it's like a friend's farm that they're shooting on. There was a horse eating hay out of an abandoned car that was completely rusted and rotted out, and then there was just this massive like family of goats just walking across. So we just had to sit there and let the goats walk past, and they had some of the biggest horns I'd ever seen. So I might have a similar experience.
That's great. I can't wait. Keep me updated on how that goes. I would love to hear about
Definitely, yeah. I think I'm hoping there'll be something to do with found with that in the future. So yeah, that's it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm really excited to see the feature version of my found footage. I think I'm seeing the short and watching it a few times, like 100%, you definitely pick up on small nuances or your thought on a certain sequence, like changes and helps to move it forward, and you get a greater appreciation. So I'm really excited to see the feature length version. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Absolutely.
I really will send you a link pretty quick. And I will say for the feature version of the movie, it's really changed my life in so many ways making the movie. And I will just leave you all with one tease about the movie. I actually survived a real life murder attempt while
Oh wow.
making the movie. And it kind of it happens like early on in the feature version of the movie. So like the movie itself is like dealing with that. And I've kind of had to decide on how to. It's really weird to be making a horror movie, like a meta horror movie where you're playing yourself and then somebody tries to kill you. And then like how do you incorporate that into the actual movie? I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. So yeah, y'all will have to let me know.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me know.
I'm intrigued. Hell yeah.
Well, so towards the end of the interview, I do have a couple of questions. We always have the one question that I have at the end that we're going to ask you, but I'm curious. Name 3 things you would need to survive a horror movie, you personally. I'm sorry, a found footage horror movie.
Okay, I have to have my trusty flashlight, which you will see in the movie. I kept that thing on me the entire year. It's a Husky flashlight, and I just got it at like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, and it's kind of been like my go-to found footage accessory. Is that flashlight? It flashes red, which ended up being one of the reasons that red became a motif in the short film, and then like really becomes a motif in the movie. So I have to have my flashlight so I can see where I'm going. And then I would say my hiking boots. My grandfather bought me the hiking boots that I wear in the movie and in the feature, and they're the same boots that he wears himself. And they have really taken me kind of all over the world. So some comfy shoes to run away, and then dang, I guess I'll have to say my cat, Bronco Henry. Bring him in there too. Maybe he'll scratch somebody up if he has to, but he also has an extended part in the feature version of the movie, so I can't wait for y'all to see more of Bronco.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if any of those things, maybe I should have said like a gun, a bazooka, but I don't know.
No, I think that's the beauty of the question is that everybody's going to have a different answer because it's what's important to you personally. But I think, I mean, out of all those things, I think a standard answer would be the flashlight because who would want to be stuck in the dark without any kind of light? You know, I think that would be on everybody. That would be on my list. I would need a flashlight.
Yeah.
The flashlight too, it's almost shaped like a gun. So like as I was going through the movie, like, ooh.
I got a gun. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Flash gun.
Yep.
The boots, though, like comfortable shoes or like reliable shoes, is a solid one. That would definitely be on. Those two would definitely be on my list. I think if I was going to
I'm
pick.
actually wearing my boots now. I know this is a podcast, but these are the boots that I would wear. Reeboks. They have like a little spring in them, so I'm like, it's like a little trampoline in there. I'm like ready to run away from whoever's after me in these woods.
Brilliant. And in the same theme, it's funny because these are not the shoes that I would choose, but they're extra orange, and these are I think perfect for the occasion as we speak with Eric Orange himself. Yeah, these would not be my sensible shoes.
They're not going to get you anywhere quick.
No, unless I put them in sport mode.
Yeah.
Then there's no stopping me.
Oh man. And final question I would like to ask is what so you're having movie night, you're sitting down and watch a movie. What is your snack of choice?
Okay. I know y'all ask this at the end of every tape talk, so I've been thinking about it, and it made me think of like, in my whole life, what did I love? And I used to be obsessed with going in and just getting like a Coke and popcorn in the movie theater. But actually, my girlfriend in high school had type 1 diabetes. And so on our first date that we went on, I got like a regular Coke and popcorn and brought it to her. And she's like, "Are you trying to kill me? I'm diabetic." And so from that moment on, I got addicted to Diet Coke. So really, a Diet Coke has notoriously throughout my whole life is like, if I'm going to watch a movie, I would want a Diet Coke. But then I gave Diet Cokes up 2 years ago. So I'm I don't have my movie snack anymore. Like I don't have my go-to. So still popcorn. My favorite popcorn is my mom's that she makes like on the stove herself. She has one of those like pans where there's like some type of lever that you turn the entire time and it makes the popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Really good. And then I know, David, didn't you say yours is a pickle?
Yeah, mine is actually just the classic popcorn, but add the dill pickle. I know you're being in Texas. Maybe you can confirm this for me. Is it standard when you go to a movie theater that you see pickles as an option? Because everybody more up north doesn't see that as a common thing at the movie theater.
I remember it more from my childhood. I can't remember the last time that I went in. I must just not be looking for it, but I think they are available. It was actually funny. I saw somebody else. I don't know who it was. I think there was some pop star from Texas who was doing some interview where she was talking about needing a pickle from her movie theaters. And I was like, oh yeah. The next time I go in, I'm gonna order a pickle and see if they still have them.
We've got they're like a local chain here. They're called City Based Cinema. It's not too far from where I am, but they have the best made pickles, the ones that are like from Texas, and they just have this giant jar, and it looks like you can fit a human being in this jar because it's so big, and it's just stuffed with hundreds of pickles. And then they have another one right next to it that have the chamoy pickles that are like red pickles. I've never had one of those because they're a little bit too sour, but from what I understand, and I'm not more of I really don't like sour pickles, but the dill pickles, those are really good. So those I enjoy more.
Ooh, you're making me want to go to a movie. I think I've seen everything that is out right now. Maybe I'll go again and get a pickle. I just remembered something. This is like so random, but from the beginning of the episode, I was mentioning my influences, and I forgot there was one other director that I mentioned, and it is Kyle Edwards something, whoever directed Skinamarink. I think that was the last movie. That was definitely one I saw in theaters. That was like, holy crap, movies can be anything. I can make a movie if I really put my mind to it. So, I think that's another one that was like either you loved it or you hated it. But I found it really effective. And I don't think I would have made my movie without Skinamarink either. So though I think those movies were Skinamarink, Horror in the High Desert. Are y'all fans of that one?
Yes.
It's funny. I've never seen them. Dutch,
I've seen the first one.
Yeah, Dutch I think follows us on Instagram, and we had our opportunity to see the fourth one but I was like, I haven't seen the other three, so I can't really base it based on like a random fourth one in a franchise. But it's one I've attempted to watch them, but not because it's bad by any means. I think it's really just the mood that I was in at the time. I just couldn't like sit down and pay attention. I had to go and do something else. So those are ones I definitely want to revisit. In full.
I've only seen the first one, and I hear they're pretty consistently good. And I think there's there's maybe like one actor who like links them all together, but I think it's like different stories around the High Desert. Is that kind of how the franchise works? So I've only seen the first one, but that movie, we were talking earlier about fun and games. Like the whole movie is fun and games kind of stuff. It's like this, like, oh, this guy's missing, and it's like the whole movie, like I was invested, but I was not scared. I was like, it's creepy, but by the end of the movie, it's so terrifying. Like I cannot believe how scary the end of Horror in the High Desert is. So definitely check it out, John. And that's another one where you watch that movie and you're like, if you want to make a movie, you can. Like a movie can be anything. And so like I think he kind of like used whatever resources were that he had available to him. Great story. So yeah, I'm kind of reminding myself I need to go back and watch that. Horror in the High Desert. What was that? We're all going to the World's Fair. I don't know if you would consider that found footage.
I think so. Yeah, maybe. I think it's sort of in-world type found footage is sort of the overarching subgenre, and then it breaks into sub-genres. You get screen life and into the woods and all that sort of thing. You can go really quite crazy with the linking of it, but yeah, I would consider that to be one.
Yeah, that's I know y'all already asked me my final question, but that was something somebody asked me actually in my short. I'm like I tell them, like, for Halloween I dress up as a found footage horror director. And she asked me, she's like, oh, I love found footage. What's the sub genre? Because that's something that's fun about found footage, is like found footage is a subgenre, but it's like it's just the format. Like there's like a found footage can be whatever genre. And so it's like it's just the medium, and then it's like you can tell whatever kind of story you want. So that was something fun to play with. The short itself that I made was the genre was like cursed object, but it also had like influence from like, I think there's like some folk horror influences, and like kind of like the idea of like what is the horror of outside. It all kind of like I wouldn't have made it if I didn't get attacked by a mountain goat out like while I was like out trying to explore the world. So like folk cursed object was like the basis for the short, and then as I've made my way into doing the feature, I've tried to explore like as many subgenres as I can. There's like a through story that starts in the short and is carried throughout the whole story, but I've tried to sneak in a bunch of sub genres within my found footage horror movie.
I love it. Hell yeah, that's gonna be so good. I'm really excited to see it. Yeah. Whenever you have a copy you want to send over, we're more than happy to check out and give any notes or feedback or any insight for sure. Absolutely, be our pleasure.
Would love some feedback. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Eric, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. This has been an absolute blast. We wish you nothing but success with the feature. My Found Footage is on Found TV. You can also find it on your website, which is ericorange.com, and then follow Eric on social media. You can get his handle. We'll leave it in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a blast. I can't wait, and yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. I think it's gonna be awesome, and I'll definitely share some pictures of my cat so you can see what he looks like.
Great. Well, thank y'all so much. I so appreciate it. I can't wait for y'all to see the movie. Let me know what y'all think.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Take care.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.